Hey guys, Stealth17 here, and let's get ready to land some Marines in Seoul in this part 4 video of the Busan Pocket campaign in Wargame Red Dragon. Currently we have no attacks going on in the south, so we can focus on the north. We got two groups of Marines here. We have the 12th Marine Regiment and the 24th Armored Battalion, backed up by F4 Phantom 2s, some EA6 Prowlers as a seaplane, and a light attack squadron of helicopters. We're going to be attacking this map in Seoul. We're going to be coming in from Naval Sector Bravo, land in Bravo, and try to capture Yunnan to make sure we have a land resupply zone. So let's get to it. Now if you want to unload Marines, select the unit you want to unload and click Disembark. This will allow the unit to actually get off the ship and unload onto the land. Once you've done this, you can use them as any land unit you're familiar with. Now I'm unloading these guys, disembarking the 12th or the 24th Armored Battalion, and using my attack squadron to support them. We can see from the units they have here that they have some shilkas. Now these are not radar guided weapons, but these pongays are. So what we want to be doing here is send in the seed squadron to do some suppression of enemy air defense on these pongay launchers. Finally, we're going to use these 154th Fighter Squadron to take down their A5 naval fighters, or to do an attack on the helicopter regiment which is nearby. Currently I could call in other units. I could call in the naval air group, I could call in the F-18C Hornets, but I found that I don't really need them. Plus I need to save my points so that later on, when we've captured this zone, I can call in the 72nd Armored Battalion right into Seoul. So we're going to have to make do with what we have here. Now ideally I want to complete this campaign in 4 days, which means 4 turns. So I have to get a total victory to kick these guys out of this zone. That means it's going to be a lot of work, because in 20 minutes we're going to have to take out 4,000 points worth of units with our own 3,000. So make sure that we can use the naval ships we have. We get 4 Oliver Hazard Perrys with their 3-kilometer gun. We can use these to pound these shorelines with the ships from right out here. Furthermore, we have a landing force of Marines. We got 24 Marines 90. These guys come in their LAV or LVTP 7A1 with their grenade launcher. We have Avengers for air support, and we're going to need these against some of the aircraft they might be bringing in the form of Mi-8 gunships. Now if you leave the Marines undefended, these things are going to tear them to shreds, so we definitely need these Avengers. The problem with the Avengers is that we cannot bring them in from the Naval Sector Bravo. We need to do that from any of the land zones. So to deal with these very difficult or very dangerous Mi-8s, we need to use the Air Force, and we have the F4J Phantom 2 to do that. These F4 Phantoms are threatened by their supports in the form of the shilkas and the pongays. The shilkas are not that much of a threat with a poor accuracy, and the pongays are much more of a risk to these fighters because they have a 4.5-kilometer range on their missile. These things can also take out our helo force, so we definitely need to take out these guys, and we can use the prowlers to do that. From the sea we can bring in some of these SDRB 70 or 90H. These have Hellfires, and we can send these guys all the way up this river to make sure we can defend these zones or put an attack on Churwon, Yunnan or Sandang. Same goes for the monitors, and I want to use these as floating naval batteries or artillery batteries while the rest of the forces push in. It's going to be an intense battle, so let's get to it. Right, here we are. First I'm going to put down one of the Oliver Hazard Perrys. Actually make that 2 Oliver Hazard Perrys, because together they can do a lot more damage. I want 2 monitors so I can fire in from the shore onto these areas here. And the first thing we need to do is capture these areas of towns, these urban areas with Marines, and then try to capture these towns. Then we can park a CV in here, because even if we have a CV all the way out here, we can use this land resupply zone. So what we need to do is deploy a lot of Marines. Now keep in mind that these guys are very slow on the water. They come in their LVTP, but they only go 35 kph in the water. So protect these guys very well if you're doing this campaign. Now Marines come in a group of 15, which means that you don't need to use groups of 4 as I was about to do. You can use a couple of groups of 3 of these to make sure that you have 45 guys in each squad and that they can do a lot of damage by themselves. I think that 3 squads will do right now, because I need some points for the other sectors. I'm going to send them some smalls with them. These are the anti-tank weapons. And I would love to have a LCU and some STRB 90s. These can take out tanks from a 2.8 kilometers away. And we're going to top it off with one AH-1J Cobra, which can scout all of this on the shore. So this is going to be the landing force. I want this LAV here pretty close, because this is also one of the slowest vehicles we have. Actually, I'm going to go with one Oliver Hazard Perry because I need more points. Because if I move the LAV here, that's not good enough. I need to move him here so I can call in another CV, but that means I don't have Bravo, so I cannot get the 6 resupply points we get from them. So I'm going to call in a TACCOM, and these guys come in LCM, which is the very fast naval craft. Okay, here we go. As you can see, there is plenty of targets on the shores. I'm going to send all of these ships on an attack move while the Marines go into the shore here. I'm going to try these buildings as a shield, and I want to get the LAV and I'm going to keep this LAV here so I can call in units later and use the LCM to capture the zone. Now you can see that these things are having a field day. They're actually taking out a lot of targets, doing it very quickly, and they need to, because we need to go through 4,000 points of units before we get the total victory we're going after. Now these guys are being a bit of a problem, all these anti-tank weapons. Fortunately these things haven't been hit yet, and I don't intend to let that happen, so I'm prioritizing with the Perry class I have here. Time to move my Cobra up a little to see what other units we have out here. Oliver Hazard Perry is reloading. The STRB 90s are reloading as well, but they still have some weapons in their magazines. So hopefully they can take out these units while the Marines do their naval landing. I want to be very careful with this, because this looks like a gunship to me. Actually, it's a scout helicopter, and the Cobra might be able to deal with that. By now we also have a bit of points, so we can start calling in prowlers. I use 2 of these together so that the anti-air units which are near have more targets to shoot at. Okay, the Marines have landed. This is good news, because this way they're a lot less vulnerable than they are on the sky, on the water. There goes one Pongay. Right now the MI8s are starting to show up. Now what I can do is send out these guys, because they have some sort of air-to-air weapon. It's not fantastic, but it's better than nothing. I'm going to unload all of these units so that they can defend themselves by going into towns and buildings. And we're going to lose a couple of these LTVPs, but well, so be it. These things only have a 1225 meter range against helicopters, but But hopefully we can still use them quite effectively against these gunships. And now my Oliver Hazard Perry is starting to get involved with their SMI MR Block 5 missiles. Which means that these choppers are going down pretty quickly now. So I'm going to unload these TACOMs. Unfortunately, these guys don't come in a vehicle, so I'm going to use, or recycle rather, one of these vehicles, so that I can use these guys to transport a lot faster. Now the choppers are down. We still have the monitors, and we use these to pound the crap out of the Marines they have on this side. Put them under a hotkey. Okay, we know that there's still a CV out here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is, but I know it's out here because the moment I started moving my TACOM, the AI suddenly had the zone under control again. So that means that they have the ability to capture this zone. Right now I'm also bringing in some Sea Cobras for assistance for the Marines. As you can see, these guys are getting worried by the artillery bombardment they're taking. And my Marines are just slowly moving up through the town. Sending out my Prowlers again to spot for some anti-air. I found one. Took out one young gay, but I lost one Prowler in the progress. And we know that there's 3 Shilkas here, which is a threat. So I'm going to manually fire my artillery units at these guys. Here's their main capture unit. Time to use my LCU to resupply these units, because these ships are very handy for inland pushes. Marines hit this vehicle once. And twice. And now I can capture this zone. I'm not going to do it though, because the best way to do this is to call in another parry here, so that this ship or this command unit gets freed up and I can park it here. Park this command unit somewhere in these towns, capture this zone and call in some more units.
Yes, sir.
Now, time to start using these LVTP A1s. This way we can actually do some grenade launcher damage against vehicles and help with the suppression. My Sea Cobras have now arrived. I do need to be careful because out here there was some Shilka units which could really put some hurt on these things. So I'm going to keep them on the right flank. By now we've already done 1500 points worth of damage and we've only taken about 2000 or 200, so I'm not too worried. Here's the Cobras doing a good job. Unfortunately these LVTPs get destroyed. Time for the smalls to get involved now. These things are just out of our range. But luckily we can call in some M60 ERAs on LCMs, which means that we have some firepower against these vehicles. What I want to do now is relocate these helicopters to give fire support in the form of missiles, the rocket pods, the Hydras, so that they can suppress these guys and the Marines can push up further. I'm going to have my Prowler make another run, see what's out here. So the Marines are suppressing these guys, and these are only Fagot anti-tank weapons, so the Marines can push up against these guys very easily. I'm going to send up my smalls as well. Prowlers taking fire from these AA units, so I do need to be careful here. My tanks have arrived, unloading, and moved them fast all the way into the side of this sector. Now, since we took out most of these units pretty quickly, most of these Mi-8 gunships, we're going to be facing a lot less opposition from the skies, so we're a lot safer here. Marines took out the Shilkas and are now working on this infantry. So now we're 9 minutes in, we still have almost 1900 points to go. Unfortunately, my Marines are starting to run out of anti-tank weapons, so we're going to have to resupply these or get more tanks in. We do have another group of Marines, but they're starting to run out of weapons and units as well. Still suppressing these units, but my Marines are really taking a pounding now. My ERAs are now pushing up, and this means that the Marines can get relieved and can get resupplied. Okay, we've now captured the zone, so we can now start to bring in resupplies and reinforcements from this zone. First I want to move this TACOM into this building, and now we can start to push in here with tanks. Bring in two groups of ERAs, and they captured the zone again, which means that their CV, which is somewhere in these bushes, is still alive. So we need to go scout out this guy. We still have one Prowler to take care of this Tanguay, which is somewhere here. And I want to use the Marines, the Cobras and the LTVPs to find this command vehicle. Because without him, we can start to bring in supplies. Which we could really use at this point. Hopefully we can capture this FOB to resupply and repair some of these units. Because the LTVPs are going out of ammo, all out of fuel. And these guys need some reinforcements. Now the brilliant AI is already using Zeal trucks and sending them right into my lines. We still don't know where the CV is, and we need to kill 1000 points of damage. So now I'm going to start hunting these units. Any points will do. Attack move these STRBs up the river, all the way out here. Pound them with artillery, and hopefully get some points there. And now we finally captured the zone again. That means that CV is either moving or dead. So we can start to bring in tanks and push into these sectors as quickly as possible. Not really sure what these guys are hunting at, but it might be a CV. Yep, that was a CV, 120 points a vehicle. I'm going to call in some FSVs, these are fire support vehicles. You can really use these to suppress lighter vehicles. I'm going to be coupled with a scout, and I need another Avenger in case more helicopters show up. There's a lot of vehicles out here and a lot of infantry, so these tanks are going to have quite a good day. In the meanwhile, I've resupplied my Cobras by stealing from their FOB, which I captured earlier. We're still going to need to destroy 800 points of vehicles in 4 minutes, which is not impossible, but pretty difficult. And the best thing I can do now is try to go after their command vehicles, because I think that the last one is hiding out somewhere here. .700 points left, and here are some very pricey artillery units. This could be their CV. Yep, that was their CV. So we're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing some more until we get the most of these zones. And here's another CV. That's the last CV, so we get a total victory on this map. Third anti-air convoy has been destroyed, and that's because we took out both the Pongays and the Shilkas, so we do not have to fear for our helicopters and air units anymore. We didn't really lose that many units this match. We lost 2 smalls, 1 marine, we lost 1 prowler, and that's it. Well, they lost a whole lot of units. They lost 5 command units, 8 cargo trucks, they lost their FOB, they lost 51 infantry units, 13 Fagot missiles, Shilkas, Pongays, recon units, anti-tank units, helicopters, and they didn't come in with the A5 anti-ship planes, luckily. So this is probably one of the most exciting landings in the campaign so far. It's one of the most exciting matches, and do not be afraid to just reload and retry this again. Now, since we now captured Seoul, I can actually call in units straight away. Make sure that you use the US task force for this, and you can call in either the M101 Abrams or the armored battalion with the AOS. I'm going for these guys, put them in Seoul, and I could immediately attack Chaaarge 1. But since they only have 2 initiative points, I can only move them and not attack with them right away. So for now I'm going to keep them here, because later on we might get a counter attack in Seoul, and it's always good to have a couple of tanks out here. So that concludes this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful on how to beat this difficult landing. It's one of the best landings in the game as far as I'm concerned, because there's not that many landings you can do. In some of the other campaigns there are a few landings, but these are probably the most exciting. And because you want to get 4,000 points worth of damage, you're going to have to really push hard on this map. So I hope you had fun. If you did, leave a comment or like the video. If you have a question, please leave it in the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you.